Layla lived alone in an old house she had inherited from her late grandmother. The house wasn't big or luxurious. By most standards, it was ordinary. However, it held something unusual, something strange and inexplicable. In nearly every room, there were old mirrors hanging on the walls. Some were large, with intricately carved wooden frames, while others were small and simple. Layla had always found these mirrors beautiful, as her grandmother had collected them from various places throughout her life. One evening, as Layla sat in the living room sipping a cup of tea, she noticed something strange. Her reflection in the large mirror in front of her seemed to move slightly, even though she was sitting still. At first, she thought it was just a blurry reflection due to the dim lighting in the room. She ignored it and continued reading. But it didn't stop there. In the following days, she began to notice strange shapes in the mirrors, figures of unknown people that appeared for a few moments and then vanished. She wasn't sure if it was just her imagination or the result of the stress she'd been feeling since her grandmother's death. The figures appeared pale, their features unclear, but she felt they were watching her. One night, while trying to sleep, she heard faint whispers coming from the next room. She mustered the courage to get up and check, but the room was empty. She looked in the mirror and saw that her reflection briefly had different features before returning to normal. Layla started to feel afraid. She knew something strange was happening in the house, but she couldn't understand it. She decided to visit an old library in town to search for any information related to the strange mirrors or paranormal events. In the library, she found an old book that talked about spirits trapped in mirrors. The book suggested that some souls could become trapped in mirrors after death, remaining imprisoned there until they were freed. As she read, anxiety crept into her heart. These spirits were searching for a way out, and the mirrors were the prison holding them. Layla felt she might be on the verge of uncovering a big secret about her grandmother and the house. Did her grandmother know something about these spirits? And why were these particular mirrors in every room of the house? Layla began to sense something sinister in the air. In the following days, the spirits began to appear more clearly. They were no longer just shadows. They stood behind her in the mirror, unable to touch her or escape. She wished she could flee, but the house had become part of her, and every time she tried to leave, it felt as if an invisible force pulled her back. When Layla returned home, she began searching through her grandmother's old belongings. She found a small wooden box containing a collection of old letters and photographs. As she sifted through the papers, she found a letter from her grandmother addressed to an unknown person. The letter talked about trapped souls and a nightmare mirror. In the letter, her grandmother mentioned a particular mirror that was the key to these spirits. This mirror had the power to trap evil spirits and was used in ancient rituals to protect them from the outside world. However, if the magic was broken or tampered with, these spirits could be released. Layla began to piece things together. These mirrors weren't just decorations. They were vessels for ancient souls, and any mistake could release them.